Okay, the fourth questions that is asked is when do you select the regression test suite in Agile methodology and what is the intent of the regression set? Okay, so let us say you are in your organization, you are running 1600 or 1800 test scripts. Then they will definitely ask you like either you are running it in a daily basis or do you have a different regression or smoke test shoots or like that. So what exactly you have to answer over there is that in Agile, what regression suite is selected after every sprint based on impact analysis of new features, enhancements, and bug fixes. Okay, so every sprint you will have a new feature. Okay, right, if either it is developed one for the UI perspective or else from the backend side. So if there is any new feature is added to the sprint, then based upon the impact of that new feature to the existing one, then and the bug fixes of the previous feature. Okay, so these all will come into point when you are doing the regression suite. Okay, testing. The intent is to verify that existing core functionality continues to work and no new change introduce side effects. It ensures product stability and prevents defect leakage. So these things you can explain over there about it. And then the fifth questions they have asked is suppose time is limited. Okay, suppose time is limited and you have to choose scenarios for regression for a new feature. How will you do that? With limited time, I select regression test based on the risk and impact I choose. Okay. So what are the risk it will consider? You have to consider one is the business critical flows related to the changed area. Then integration touch points, high usage and defect prone scenarios, and key positive and negative cases of the new feature. Okay, these forms a focused mini regression that gives a maximum confidence in minimum time. So these type of answers you have to give when you are asking these type of questions. Okay. See, your intention is to give up direct answers so that they will not get confused. Like the here, if you say that what are the different limitation, time limitation is there, then what are the flows you are going to select? Then you have to mention that business critical flows. Like what are the business critical flows? That also you can give it as an example, like login, payment order creation, or anything that directly affects your revenue or customer experience. That you can give an answer. Then integration touch points like modules that interact with this feature, APIs, database updates, external services, and third components like common headers, cards, or user profile. So these all points you can mention the example. The third point like this high usage and defect prone scenarios. So defect prone scenarios like wherever your production environment is used highly or where there is mostly history of defects are there before, then these areas you have to choose for that. And the positive and negative test cases that will comes under your boundary value analysis. So this type of thing you have to mention. And also you can mention that if automation is available, I prioritize high value automated tests from these areas to maximize coverage in minimum time. This way, even with time constraints, we still protect the most critical parts of the application. So this type of answers you can give. Okay, then the sixth questions they have asked is how do you validate the API response? What key components should be checked to ensure the API response is valid or not? Okay, to validate the API response, you can mention that there are many points are there that I am checking. So first one I am checking is the status code. First, ensure the correct HTTP status code is returned or not. So that is 200 for success, 201 for creation of new user, 400 for not one, 400 for 500 for error scenarios depending on the flows. So that is the first thing I am checking. The second is I'm checking the response body or the JSON schema. Okay, so first what you do in the response body, we are verifying all required fields are present with correct values and data types over there, and also schema validation. which ensures no field is missing or type mismatch is happened over there. Then the third one is business logic validation. So data in the response should match expected output based on inputs. For example, like the order amount, username, item count, calculation rules, these all business logic, whichever the expected output should be get as per based upon the inputs, that also I need to check. Fourth one is I'm checking the headers where we are checking the headers. We validate important response headers like content type, authorization, cache control, and correlation IDs if needed used. That these all things also I check. The fourth one is the response time that is based upon the performance. Okay, so we are ensure API response within SLA, like if it is less than 500 milliseconds, so that response time it should generate over there. So that also are verifying. So basically this thing is done by the performance team, but as a tester I'm also verifying this SLAs over there. Then error handling and messages. So for negative tests, if there is any negative test we are checking, then we are verifying that it is returning the very actual error codes and error messages. So that also we are checking. Okay, so these all things are comes under point when we are checking the verifying the API response. That you can give an example. So next question they have asked is difference between patch and put request. As you know that there are different types of requests are there, right? Get, post, these all are the common one. Then put, patch, fetch. So these all that, right? So this is the very common question asked in the interviews, like what is the difference between patch and put. Okay, so put is used to update or replace the entire resource. Okay, when we use put, we need to send the complete payload. Okay, but in a patch, what happens if you want to update any certain record or certain data, partial update? So then you can use the patch. Here you have to send only the fields we want to modify. Okay, so like when you want to update only one specific patient's address or claim status, then you can use the patch over there. Patch doesn't require the full body and usually only applies the changes we specify. Okay, that's the difference between put and patch. You can give an example. Okay, so then they have given one JSON data. So this is the JSON data is given. So it is starting from here. If you show this is JSON data, it is having data, and inside that these keys and values are there. And they've asked like from JSON, write syntax to get name attribute value and verify it. So if you see where is the name attribute, if you search for the name attribute over here, the name attribute is here at this place, right? JSON writes syntax to get name attribute value and verify it, it says. So name attribute is here. So we have to check that what is the parent of this name. So if you check parent of this one, it is inside one array. If you see, it is inside an array and included is the parent, right? So to get it, what it will be, so, what is that response? Then we have to mention that it is in a rest assured format. So, respond that JSON path that get string you have to use. Then included is having name, right? Included 0 is having a name. Then attributes dot name. Okay, so this will be your, because see included, inside included there is attributes inside attribute there is name. So included is first index is 0 index, 0th index is attribute, and then name. So this will be your format to get it. So validation, how you can do it, you have to use assert over here. So at assert equals name, if it is John, is matching with your this name is matching with your the John, then you will get a true, or else the failure message you have to mention over there. Similarly, get data relationship ID value. Okay, data relationship ID value. If you see relationship is here, this is data, this is ID. So relationship, it comes under this data. So you can mention over here is like this. That is, first it will be starting from data, then relationships, then which index it is there that you have to mention, relationship, author, data, ID. Okay, so one thing you can check this thing quickly in a JSON format as well. Um Also a JSON formatter, JSON formatter. If you go to JSON formatter, so there you can find it this. Okay, I will start sharing this JSON formatter one also. Share the complete screen. Share it. Okay, you can see the complete screen, right? So I'll copy this one, this data one from here. Okay, so from here. So then we'll go to this folder. Okay, so you can see this is the data folder over here. Okay. This is the format, huh? So if I close this all, so this is data. Okay, one is data, another one is include. So now the question is ask is find out the data, get data, relationship ID value. So next from this relationship, we need to check where is relationship. So you have to go data. Inside data, you have type, ID, attributes. These are the three. Then you have relationships. Okay. So data, type, ID, attributes is one. Then you have relationship. So data zeroth relationship. From relationship, you have to go to this data. Then you have to go to ID. Okay, so this is one relationship. Then this is attribute is another one. Okay. Then you have data attribute and this inside data you have relationship, inside relationship you have data again. So if you close this data you will find the ID one. So that's what it is asking. So you have to check for the parent and child relationship over here, and then you can set the answer for that. Okay, so that's how we can do it actually. So data, then relationship, author, data, ID. So that is what. Okay. Okay. The next question asked is you want to validate any API response which should be below 5 seconds in Postman. Okay. In Postman it is there. Then Postman, write the syntax. Okay, so if you have mentioned that you have worked in Postman, okay, you have worked in Postman, then definitely they will ask one question from the Postman. So this question is common. So if you want to validate any API response in Postman, right? So there is an by default method is there called expect. Okay, so you what you have to do is pm.test. This is the method name. Response time is under 5 seconds. Then you have to use the function, and under that function you have to use this function called expect. Okay, pm.expect pm.response time to be below 5 seconds. So 5000 is the 5 second. Okay, so this is what you have to mention, that there is a by default Postman is having a method called expect, pm.expect, where you have to mention the response time to be below whatever time it is that you have to mention over there. So that's how it is. Then next question asked is why are you using service client or API to create new data in hooks? Okay, so basically the interviewee, so the candidate is said over here is they have a framework. In that framework they have the BDD framework. Inside that the hooks are there. Inside the hooks they have used the service client, and that service client what exactly it does is it is creating a new data for each test script, and after the execution of the test scripts they have destroyed the data as well. So that's what they are doing. So that's why interviewer ask over here is why you are using service client. So what exactly you have to mention over here is if you use service clients in hooks to prepare test data, it will create it by the APIs, and it is reliable also. UI test data creation is very slow and unstable as compared to the APIs. So APIs allows us to create and clean up data programmatically before each scenario This makes the test independent, fast, and repeatable. So for that purpose, service APIs are used. Okay, the next question asked is if some test case fails in middle of the test case and data is not deleted. Okay, before this question, I will also do the concentration over this one. That is the concentrate on API response one. So in this API response, in some companies, they ask about, tell me some different status codes you have been worked on in your domain. Okay, so if they are saying like this, then you have to mention few status codes that you have worked on. So let us say the status code we have worked on is 200. If you know 200, 200 is used for the successful request, right? The let us say if you are working in a healthcare company, healthcare domain, then you can mention that fetching patient record, claim status, lab report, anything related to this get, so we are getting the 200 successful request messages. Okay, then is 201, which is used for to creating a new resource, that is creating new patient enrollment, new appointment, new claim submission. So for that purpose, we are using 201. Then it is there is for the redirection and no change, we are using the 204. Okay, 204 is for no content. If it is successful but no response body, then you will get 204. Okay. So like some scenarios like we're updating patient profile without returning data. So then 204 is it is sending the status code. Then when you will get 400. So basically for all series of 4 is for client errors. All series of 5 is for server errors, right? You know about this. So in client errors, mostly we get 400 for bad request, then we get 401 for unauthorized request. Then we get 403 for forbidden, access denied. Then 404 for not found, resource does not exist. Right. Then 405 is like duplicate record is there. Sorry, 409. Duplicate record is there or conflict is there, then you will get this error. Okay. Then it comes the server error. Server errors are what? 500 we get for internal server errors, right? If any system or backend failures are there, then 500 server error you will get it. Then you will get 503, that is service unavailable. So that also you will get, okay, 503 you will get mostly. So these are the few status codes you have to remember. That interviews ask about this also. So different types of status codes, right? So that's what I wanted to explain. Okay, then we'll move to the next one. So I was about here. Uh, hmm. Okay, so this question, right? If some test cases fails in middle of the test case and data is not deleted, because you have mentioned that your hook is what your hook is doing. It is creating data and also it is deleting data. So that's why the question is coming from the interviewer like this. If some test case fails in middle of the test case and data is not deleted after that, then how service client API will work in hook? Okay, so even a test case fails in the middle, my cleanup logic is not inside the test steps. It's in the after hook. Okay, you have to mention, which still runs after the scenario, whether it passes or fails. In the before hook, what we do is I use the service client API to create the test data and store the IDs like patient ID, claim ID in a shared context. In the after hook, I always try to delete that data using the same service client using a try, finally, or style approach. So cleanup is attempted even if the scenario fails. If for any reason the data is still not deleted, then for example API or environment issue, it does not break the next run. Why? Because each new scenario creates fresh, unique data. So it does not depend on old data being removed. Optionally, the before hook can do a defensive cleanup, delete if exists, then create to avoid conflict. So the service client in hooks mainly for independent, repeatable, and setup, tear down. And even on failures, the after hook and unique data strategy keeps the test stable. Okay, that's what you have to mention. Okay, next question comes is like how do you handle flaky test? So what do you mean by flaky test over here is the tests which are not constraint. Okay, that is called flaky test. Right. So what is flaky test? So first we need to do the root cause analysis. Either it is because of flaky locator or for the timing or the say test data. Then you have to fix by reliable locators. Like you have to go with the reliable locators rather than going with the one which is you frequently changing. Then you have to change your weight strategy. Explicit weights you have to use, expected conditions you have to change, then you have to add the retry logic over there. Only if justified isolate test. Use test tags to quarantine flaky test. Okay, so like suppose in this today's report you are seeing the test which are failed, and tomorrow also the same test is failed. Then you have to use a tags for this the same tags tests, so that in the third day when you are running it, you can easily figure out that is the same test case is failing or not. Okay, so these things will increase the test stability by mocking external dependency and add logging or screenshots. Okay, and then the 13th questions they have asked is this is a very long interview happen, like 1.5 hour interview happen, and they have asked so many, they have covered all the scenarios. So if the UI keeps changing, how do you maintain your test scripts? So isolate all locators in page objects. That is the first thing you have to do in a page object model. Use stable data test ID style attributes from devs. So stable data locators, you have to check it out from your devs. Then there were devs, and then you have to use that one. And keep components modular so that UI changes only require updates in one place, not in every place. Test so that you have to check in. Okay. So next is how do you avoid synchronization issue in automation test script? Okay, that you have to check. How do you avoid this? I forgot. Okay, sorry, I just changed the name. This numbers are changed. This will be 14th, right? How do you avoid synchronization issue in automation test scripts? Okay. I avoid synchronization issues by using explicit and fluent waits with proper conditions, waiting for page or Ajax completions, and using stable locators and avoiding thread.sleep. Each test is designed to be independent, so timing of one doesn't affect another. So this is how you have to mention. Then again, there is a scenario is given, and in that scenario, they have asked to write a program based upon the scenario. The scenario is like this: click a hyperlink on parent tab, which opens a child tab. Do some actions on child tab. Come back to parent tab again. Because of actions in child tab, DOM locators in parent tab has changed. Then if the any actions you are doing on the child tab, right? So that will depends, that will change the DOM actions, which is in under the parent tab. Then how do you handle it? So this was it. So what you have to do is over here is store parent tab handle. First is that store the parent tab handle. Then you want to click, use the locators to click, right? And